Today we are going to do classifying angles. Let's fill in your notes. It says an angle is formed by two rays with a common endpoint. The two rays are the sides of the angle. The common endpoint is called the vertex. And angles are measured in degrees. So here's the vertex. This would be called vertex B. And this is angle 1. It says an angle's measure determines the type of angle that it is. A right angle, we all know, measures exactly 90 degrees. Whenever you see this little symbol right here, this little square type thing, this means that it is a right angle and it equals 90 degrees. If it does not have this shape, it is not 90 degrees, even if it looks like it is. Always go by what it says, not what it looks like. An acute angle is an angle that measures less than 90 degrees, so it is smaller than a 90-degree angle. Fill in your notes, please. Our other two types of angles are an obtuse angle. It measures more than 90 but less than 180. And a straight angle is exactly 180 degrees. A straight angle looks like a line. All of these terms are in your notes from Thursday and Wednesday that we did in our vocab terms. It says vertical angles are a pair of opposite congruent angles formed by intersecting lines. Okay, on your picture in your notes, I want you to draw this in. This symbol right here means congruent. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 1 here. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 2. So that means that these measures of angles are equal to each other. These are called vertical angles. They're opposite of each other. Okay. Letter A, is this going to be an obtuse, acute, right, or straight angle? Everyone should have said, that this is an obtuse angle. What is B? B is an acute angle. Okay. Whenever you are naming angles, you're going to name it preferably alphabetically. So this would be angle ABC or angle CBA, as long as B, the vertex, is in the middle. Or this could be called angle B or angle 1. Most of the time in math this year, you're going to see it as angle ABC. Complementary angles. Okay, make sure you do fill this in your notes. It says the sum of two angles are complementary if they add up to 90 degrees. So any two angles that add up to 90 is going to be complementary. When you add up two angles and they are 180, then they are called supplementary angles. If they aren't either 90 or 180, they are just regular angles. If they add up to 90, it's complementary. If they add up to 180, it is supplementary. That is very, 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 very important. Okay, so make sure you put a star or flashing lights, whatever, to let you know that this slide is very important. Sometimes you're going to have to figure out what the measures are on, this is called a protractor. Okay, and it says angle OMP and angle PMQ. You have to tell whether they're complementary, supplementary, or neither. So angle OMP, you're going to start at O, go in to the M, and come out at P. Okay. Whenever you are measuring these angles, each one of these lines is 1 degree. These major lines are worth 5. Okay, so when you're measuring the angles, you are always going, you can start off counting by 5s. Okay, don't start here saying 5, 10. you have to start just like whenever you are on a coordinate plane. From here to here is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So angle OMP is 60 degrees. Now we're going to measure angle PMQ. I'm going to do that in red. Again, from here to here is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, but it's not exactly on that line. It's 1 degree over, so that is 31 degrees. When you add those together, 60 plus 31 is, right, 91 degrees. Okay, so is this going to be complementary, supplementary, or neither? These are neither, because complementary angles have to add up to 90. Supplementary angles have to add up to 180. Next. Okay. It says using this diagram, you have to tell whether these angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. It already tells us that angle NMO is 15 degrees. So from here to here is 15 degrees. And then angle OMR is 165 degrees. So from here to here is 165. What are we going to do to figure out if they're complementary, supplementary, or neither? You are going to add. So let's add these together. 165 degrees plus 15 degrees. When you add them, you get 10. 6 plus 2 is 8, and 1 plus 0 is 180. 180 degrees are called what type of angles? These are supplementary angles. Okay? You guys try this one on your own. You have to measure angle PMQ and angle QMR. PMQ, you should have gotten 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 degrees for PMQ. QMR, you should have gotten 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75 degrees for angle QMR. When you add those together, you would get 105 degrees. So those are what type of angles? Neither. They are neither complementary nor supplementary. Okay. This one, you already have the diagram. They've already measured them for you. So you have measure of angle BAC and the measure of angle CAF. We want to tell if they're complementary, supplementary, or neither. So what are you going to do? We are going to add them together. So you have 145 degrees plus 35 degrees. When you add those together, 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8. 1 plus 0 is 1. 180 degrees is called a supplementary angle. Measure of angle CAD and angle EAF. We have to tell whether they're complementary, supplementary, or neither. So measure angle CAD. You should have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55 degrees for the measure of angle CAD. For angle EAF, you have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 degrees for angle EAF. When you add those together, 55 plus 35, you do get 90 degrees, which is called a complementary angle. Do this next one on your own. They already gave you what the measures of the angles equal. Measure of angle BAC is 35 degrees, and the measure of angle EAF is 35 degrees. You have to add those together. When you add them together, you get 70 degrees. This would be neither, because it is not either 90 degrees or 180 degrees. So this is neither angles. Sometimes you may just be given the question. It says angles A and B are complementary. We know that complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. Okay? It says we know that if measure of angle A is 56 degrees, what is the measure of angle B? We know that complementary angles equals 90 degrees. We know that the measure of angle A is 56 degrees. So to figure out the missing angle, B, we are going to subtract. 90 minus 56, you got to borrow. 10 minus 6 is 4. 8 minus 5 is 3. So the measure of angle B would equal 34 degrees. Don't forget to put the degree symbol. Okay, you will get points off if you do not have the degree symbol. This next one says if angles P and Q are supplementary, if the measure of angle P is 32 degrees, what is the measure of angle Q? What are we going to do to figure out the measure of angle Q? Yes, we are going to subtract. How many degrees is a supplementary angle? 180 is correct. So you're going to subtract 180 minus 32 degrees. Got to borrow, that leaves 7. 10, 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 3 is 4. 1 minus 0 is 1. So you do get the measure of angle Q is 148 degrees. Do this one on your own. Because what is the complement of angle T if the measure of angle T is 47 degrees? Complement. That's the root word of complementary. We know that complementary angles equal 90 degrees when you add them together. So just like before, we have to subtract 90 minus 47. Got to borrow. 10 minus 7 is 3. 8 minus 4 is 4. So the complement of angle T is 43 degrees. It says if angle R is 87 degrees, what is the supplement of the angle? Supplement. Supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. 180 minus 87. You should get 10 minus 7 is 3. 17 minus 8 is 9. You should get 93 degrees for this answer. Sometimes you are going to have to figure out the missing angle, okay? But we can do that just from information that we've learned before. We know that this angle here is 123 degrees. But just from vertical angles, we also know that the measure of angle B is 123 degrees. Okay? That's from vertical angles. Then you can do it two ways. We know that this here is a line, which is also called a straight angle. We know that straight angles equal 180 degrees. We have 123 degrees accounted for. So what are we going to do to figure out what the measure of angle A is? We are going to subtract to figure out what the measure of angle A is. We're going to subtract 180 degrees minus 123 degrees. 180 minus 123. You got to borrow. 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 minus 2 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. So the measure of angle A is 57 degrees. Okay? But if the measure of angle A is 57 degrees, what is the measure of angle C? It is 57 degrees also from the vertical angles rule. Let's just do number 3 on this one. It says angles M and N are supplementary. The measure of angle M is 117 degrees. What is the measure of angle N? Supplementary angles add up to how many degrees? 180. So you are going to subtract 180 minus 117. The measure of angle N is 63 degrees. There will be some problems like this on your homework. Okay, there are several different ways we can solve this problem. Okay, we know that if this angle here is a right angle from this symbol right here, that means this is going to be a right angle, this is going to be a right angle, and this is going to be a right angle. Right angles add up to 90 degrees. Okay, this right angle is split up into 3 different pieces. We know 2 out of the 3 pieces. So we're going to add together what we know. 27 plus 31. 7 plus 1 is 8. 2 plus 3 is 5. So 58 degrees are accounted for. We know that all 3 need to add up to 90. So what are we going to do to figure out this missing angle X? Yes, we are going to subtract 90 minus 58 to figure out what the measure of angle X is. Borrow. 10 minus 8 is 2. 8 minus 5 is 3. So the measure of angle X is 32 degrees. Okay. It's very, very important that on problems like this, you use the information that we know from our vocabulary sheet. If you need to get out your vocabulary sheet, you can do that. Here is another problem. Okay, there's 2 ways you can do this. Okay, we know that this is a 90-degree angle here. So if this is 90 degrees, that means all of these together need to equal 90 degrees. We know that 78 degrees of the 90 degrees are accounted for, so we could subtract 90 minus 78. And you do get 12 degrees for this measure of angle X. That's one way. To do the other way, all of this together, what kind of angle is this? This is a straight angle. We know that straight angles equal how many degrees? 180 degrees. So we could add what we know. We know that this angle here is 90 degrees. And we know that there is 78 degrees that is there. 90 plus 78. And you do get 168 degrees. That's how much is there. We need 180, so we can subtract 180 minus 168. And again, you still get 12 degrees. Either way will get you the correct answer. Okay? It doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. You can subtract 90 minus 78, or add what you know and then subtract it from 180. That is our lesson for today. Your homework is the classifying and measuring angles and the D30 and D31. This is due on Monday. If you have questions, ask Mrs. Mapes to replay the video. This video is also going to be on my school web. So if you need to go on school web and watch it over and over again, you can do that also. The rest of the time you do have to work on your homework. If you do have time left, do not give Mrs. Mapes any trouble. Otherwise, you will be in trouble with me. Okay? Be good, do your homework, and I'll see you guys Tuesday.